Hey everyone, Griever here. How's it going today, YouTube? This is going to be a slightly different video. I keep doing these slightly different videos every time. It seems like I'm opening a new video, and every single time I'm sitting here, I'm doing something a little different today. It's not too different, guys. I just want to talk about this series that was relatively new, but it's been very slow in translation as far as English anyways, and it's called Grashros. Now, I don't know if that's a total butchery of the pronunciation. I'm not really sure, but we're just going to go with that. I'm sure you guys can recognize the title. If you haven't, it is hosted on many of the major sites. There is a Wikipedia page for it, things like that. So if you don't know about it, check it out. But maybe you're like me and you thought or still think that it's something totally different from what I believe it has become. And I'm not happy about it. But I'm kind of glad because I just want to tell you guys, this happened today. Chapter 7 was released on a couple of the major sites that I tend to read my manga on. And it's been very sporadic in how this has been translated and released and things like that. And the first couple of chapters really got me going. I was really pumped after chapter 1. I thought chapter 1 was awesome and this was going to be a great series, and I was considering doing this as a weekly review thing. Then I found out that it's not necessarily weekly, and I couldn't get a whole lot of information on it. It might have been monthly, it might have been bi-weekly, I wasn't really sure. And then we got chapter 2 and chapter 3 really fast, then it stopped. Then I think we got chapter 4 2 weeks later. And now, this was months ago now, guys. This has been a few months. And now, all of a sudden, we're only up to chapter 7. So I'm glad I didn't start, hoping on this series, because it is very sporadic in that regard for translation-wise. Then today, I found out that it's because the popularity and stuff, but also that the Raws have gone up to at least chapter 24, as far as I could find. It might be 25 by now. It could have been released today. I don't know. But this is a series that I didn't really need to read the Japanese, or I'm assuming it's Japanese. I didn't really need to be able to read the Japanese, the kanji or whatever, to fully understand what's basically going on with the story. And I'm glad I did, guys, because this series took a turn after what I thought after chapter 1 and even chapter 2, 3, 4, 5, up until today, chapter 7, I thought the series was going to go in a different direction, and I'm glad that I might still check it out, but after going as far as chapter 24 in the Raws, I don't really see myself liking this series anymore. That's really unfortunate too, and I just want to make this video and tell you guys what I thought it would be and why I'm disappointed. Because I haven't watched anybody else's. I know some people did first impressions on this series when it was first released in English. I haven't watched any of those yet, so if you find comparisons to other people and what they thought it would be, it's purely coincidental. I don't know why I have to say that, but anyways, this series is all about the Cro-Magnon man, and that's cool. That's a cool concept, and I wasn't too crazy on it at first. When I first started reading it, I'm like, okay, the names are kind of foolish and stuff, but I'm like, okay, but this is a different culture, this is a different time, they're trying to do something with this. I'm like, all right, this is all right, you know. The main character, who I thought would be the main character, is named Dada, and weird name once again, but I'm like, okay, and he's pretty cool. He's a pretty laid back dude and stuff, but he's got this spark in his eye, this wild side throughout the whole first chapter, and I was really looking forward to seeing more of him. For those of you who haven't read the chapter, this will be a few spoilers here coming up in 3, 2, 1, hit it. In the first chapter, it's revealed that he's basically the ace of this tribe of people. He's the #1 hunter. He brings back huge game. He's an absurdly strong dude when it comes to the game of the hunt. He looks to be a man about his mid-20s, about maybe a little older. He's got a wife with a child on the way. Now, the old shaman-esque person of the group, the old man Oba, of course, we've seen the red moon at the very beginning of the chapter, and he prophesizes that we revere the sun and the moon, and this child must be sacrificed and stuff. And it seems like he's kind of full of shit right off the get-go, and that is brought up later, that he's basically full of shit. It's just a farce. He just wants to control and believe that his words are the sun's words and stuff, and he wants everyone to believe it. Dada goes along with it, as a farce, but he doesn't believe in this stuff. He doesn't think that the old man has the ability to talk to the sun god or the moon god or anything and knows what they want. but they prophesize that if the child is born tonight on the night of the red moon, the blood moon must be sacrificed. So Dada's like, oh really? Why? And it's like, well, it's going to be calamity among the tribe. And he's like, I can't wait to see that. I want to see some action. I want to see some shit go down. That would be intense. That'd be awesome to see. This dude would be thrilled to find out the apocalypse is tomorrow, sort of thing. This guy has no fear in him. He's just excited to see life take a different turn. He's passionate about that, and that makes his character just like every scene, every couple of panels, he kind of evolves very, very fast. This character seems to develop very quickly on us and shows us all these character traits, and I was really looking forward to it. And then he decides, he prays and says, well, there must be some way, I can do this for my child will beat destiny. He won't be a calamity, and if he is, he'll defeat the calamity with his own two hands. That's his kind of stance on it. So the old man's all pissy at him, obviously, and tells him, well, how about, he makes up some bullshit that he's talking to the sun god, and he gives him an impossible task. He's like, you're a hunter. Hunt the greatest beast in the land. Hunt the Lord of the Black Plains. Hunt Volga. And Volga is this, or Volga, whatever, is this giant rhinoceros. And this is a bigger rhinoceros than today's counterparts. I didn't do enough research before I decided to make this video, guys, because I'm kind of behind still playing the Digimon game, so I'm not sure, but I imagine that there were bigger versions of rhinoceroses back 3,000 years ago and stuff. How we found, the Megalodon, which is the much bigger ancestor of like the Great White and things like that. Dinosaurs, of course, are much bigger than today's mammals, with the exception of the blue whale, of course. But things like that, right? Like, so this thing is a massive beast of a creature. It is like, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Toriko-esque. And I think even the drawing style allowed it to show that this thing is actually quite a lot bigger, like massively bigger than a normal rhinoceros or a normal, like, this thing is just huge. And so he's tasked with going to, if he doesn't show up, he's got all night. And if he doesn't show up by sunrise, they're going to slaughter his baby. They're going to throw his baby in the fire pit, basically. Which the old man basically tries to do near the end of the chapter. He goes for this battle, and his friend Moob follows him. And they go on this, he realizes that they're already being hunted. He killed this, like, saber-tooth tiger looking thing, like it was sport, to kind of say, hey, these are my lands. This is my domain. You come into me, try to come into my realm, I'm going to take you down. And this is a warning. And they cross in, and he grabs his spear, and he charges at it and breaks the spear right away on this thing's hide, because this thing is so damn tough. And we're like, shit. This is going to go badly. And, he sticks him with the horn right through his hand, and it's a bloody, like, the art style for this fighting and the madness in the eyes and all the limbs flying everywhere. This is really well drawn. I love the drawing here. I really love the art style of Dada, and I really love the look of the animals that we encounter here, the dangerous beasts of the hunt. So it's really, really epic. It's so epic, guys. Really, read this. I mean, it's short, but it's so cool to watch, and or read, I should say. And what ends up happening is, of course, Dada returns. We know that, but he is carrying this thing, or dragging. He's not carrying it, but he's dragging it with his hands. Remember, his hand was completely stabbed through. He lost an eye. His eye was basically taken out and stuff. And he's walking, bloodied and beaten, dragging this rhinoceros, this giant-ass Volga, Black Lord, Lord of the Black Plains thing behind him. This dude is strong as fuck. So this made me think right away. Of course, he holds up he grabs the child when it was going to be thrown in fire. He holds up the child, and he's like, my child is a child of destiny. He will, he'll be so good, so good. And it's a happy-go-feel. We've beaten the old man, but we know that old man's going to cause shit. We know that this is going to be an issue. And so after this first chapter, I realized that we were probably going to follow the child from here on out. We'll probably have a 5, 6, 7, maybe a 15-year time skip to the time the kid's a teenager. But I knew that we were going to follow the child, and we weren't going to follow Dada anymore, which is unfortunate because I thought if they went on this route, and this once again reminded me very Toriko-esque, is that there was these giant beasts that are just massive that you cannot kill, and this absurdly strong, superhuman strong, like there's no question, the guy is superhuman strong. He defeats this thing with his bare hands, pretty much bare hands and stone tools, and drags it behind him with his bare hands from the Black Plains all the way back to the tribe. Bloodied and beaten, lost an eye, half stabbed through his hand, no nerves there anymore. He drags this thing. So this got me thinking that this is a superhero thing, like not superhero in the Superman, Batman, Spider-Man thing, but in the this is shown, and we're gonna have Toriko level strength, DBZ level strength, that type of stuff. You know what I mean, guys? So I'm thinking, okay, so this isn't gonna be set in it's not going to be very seinen, surreal, set in a real reality like this could have happened 3,000 years ago. No. This is a fictional 3,000 years ago for sure, because right off the bat we have a guy, a hunter, the ace, who is strong enough to basically do these impossible feats of strength. So I'm like, all right, this guy's cool. So I know I've drowned out a lot about the first chapter, guys, but I think because after the first chapter, this is where with the exception of a peak moment in the latest 2 chapters, this is where the series goes downhill. Goes downhill hard. For me anyways. Because the child's name is Aku. Yes, Samurai Jack fans, I know what you're all thinking. And what happens is that we follow Aku. He's teased and called a cursed child by the village. It's been, looks like about 8-10 years. Kid looks old enough to that. He's a thief. He's got no friends. He's kicked. He's punched. He's beaten. There's a new hunting party of the tribe. And Dada has been reduced to this blind, deaf, dumb sort of idea. He's lost his eye and he wears an eye patch. He looks scrawny and weak. He can't apparently use his left hand anymore. And this is where the series made no sense to me. Because the new hunting, the young buck, the young new stag of the tribe, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. It's like Boa Jackas or something like that. He tells Aku, when he's beating him up in the rain there, that Dada, it's his fault, because Dada, it's like, because I'm like, has everyone forgotten who this dude is and what he did? Like, what happened? Here's the problem with the series right away. What happened between the time that everyone rejoiced? Like, no one else but the old man thought that the child should be killed. Everyone was defending Dada. That it's his kid. Like, they've been waiting a long time. Like, leave him alone, you stupid old man. So I want to know what happened between that time where he's holding up the child after defeating the biggest creature they've ever known about. This impossible to kill, hunt and kill creature that they brought back and had food for a year by the looks of it. And what happened between then and like 5-10 years? Well, how has this dude been reduced to this? Like, where's the respect? Because they're not showing Dada any respect. He's treated as this, sarcastic weapons master, No one's treating this guy with respect anymore. And they treat his child like crap and all this stuff. And I don't get that, because the man still was your top dog. Like, for a long time, he was your hero hunter. He was the greatest, he was your ace. And now, because he slew something that was impossible, everyone thought it was suicide, he managed to do this absurdly strong. He comes back and he's a little banged up, and you're going to say that, oh, the dude doesn't, no, I could have done that and not lost an eye. What are you talking about? Sort of mentality it seems these people have. So this is where the series kind of took a downward spiral right off the bat in these next couple chapters. The new guy tells Aku, of course, you can't, don't you understand? He lost his eye and the use of his left hand, and so now he couldn't be a hunter anymore, and he couldn't hunt. And I'm like, whoa. This is where the series fails, right there. What do you mean he couldn't hunt? This guy killed a creature that they all thought was a suicide mission that could not be killed, could not be hunted, that they didn't go near because this thing was too strong. Remember, they formed hunting parties, and this guy went alone and succeeded and dragged the body back. Whoa, 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 hold on. You're telling me that this guy, who after, once again, while the wound is still fresh, his hand still now has a hole in it, is bleeding profusely, his eye has been whatever, has been gouged out, is broken, is whatever, is still bleeding profusely. He's tired. He drags this thing, an impossible feat of strength, drags this thing from the plains after killing it, after getting these injuries basically 2 seconds into the fight, still manages to kill the thing. The impossible creature, remember, and drags it to the tribe. Why can't he hunt anymore? Like, I understand depth perception and the loss of the eye and stuff, but he killed the creature that Buddy sent him on a suicide mission just to try to get his way because no one thought it could be done. He went and did it, an impossible feat of hunting skill while he had these injuries. Now he's healed these injuries. He's not bloodied up, and now he can't hunt. I don't... Like, what happened? How does that make any fucking sense? And especially because now, here's where we're going to jump, guys, because this is not a chapter review by chapter review. I just wanted to set up where my mind was when I read the first chapter, and then here to the second. So now I've lost interest in, the new characters. I just want to see Dada. Because, as I said, in the first chapter, it was enough, such good character development right away. We saw enough sides of this guy that he was instantly likable. I wanted to know everything about this guy. I didn't like him in the first shot. When he comes in and says, oh, Fortuna, another great day, and he's got this cocky grin. I thought, this guy's an asshole and is going to get people killed. No, this guy's intelligent and he's going to kill things. That's what's actually going to happen. So all this stuff going on, and anyways, so what ends up happening is that the Grosh comes out. The Grosh comes out and attacks Aku and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, the Grosh is a mammoth. The Grosh is simply a mammoth. And it's quite large. Of course, it's a mammoth. So it comes out of the ground and it kills a bunch of the hunting party of the new ace, who manages to only strike it a couple times with some help from Aku's distraction. And then it's like, these little pissants, I'm done, I'm walking away. So he walks away. This mammoth is like, this is not worth my time. I've killed enough of these idiots. I'm just gonna leave. Like, they're not even worth fighting anymore. So that all happens, and then they meet at the clan all about this stuff, and Dada kind of says, well, I think I should sit in on the meeting. And I'm like, all right, Dada's got something. He's got a plan. And then I'm like, all right, Dada, yeah, you're right. You're not still weak. You're playing this role. For some reason, you're playing this role. And then, of course, he gets under the farce that you're going to need weapons to slay this thing, right? So I'm the dude who makes the weapons. You might as well, come to me. Yeah, I might as well be part of this so I know what I'm dealing with. So they meet, and then, of course, this is where the farce is revealed that, Dada claims that old man Oba is full of shit. My child's not cursed. You've never talked to the sun. And, everything you've done up to now has just been a lie to maintain your control. The ancestors, you do not talk to the ancestors. You do not talk to the sun god or the moon god or anything. You're just a lying old man who's too stubborn to die and let control of the clan go. Sort of thing is what he says. But in the end, he does say that, give me 3 days and I'll make enough spears. A hunting party of 20 will take this thing down. And that's what's said, but then we hear this rumble, and Mammoth's back already. They don't have 3 days, they don't have 3 days at all. So now the entire village is unprepared and is about to be attacked, and this thing's charging at full force. Then we see a shadow, and that thing was the baby. That mammoth was the baby. Now we see a true size. Now, I don't know if this is a proper representation of a full size, I know there's different species of mammoths, so I don't know if this is an accurate representation of the true size of a prehistoric mammoth of today. But in the same way, it could be exaggerated. It could be larger than a real one would be. In the same way, the rhinoceros is a more enlarged version, but once again, there could have been one of that size prehistorically that I'm not aware of. As I said, I didn't get enough chance to do research before I did this video. So I just wanted to bring that up, that this thing is massive. Once again, another massive creature. I mean, Volga was difficult. This thing is twice, 3 times the size. This thing is massive. So they're not prepared. They're screwed. So these things are stomping through the village, and they're just going to slaughter everything. And I'm like, okay, here's where everyone's going to piss himself, and Dada is going to show that he's still got it, that he was playing this farce for a while, but he's got nothing to, he doesn't give a shit. He's like, I can still hunt. I can still fight. And I'm like, all right, we're going to see Dada. And then he tells Aku, and here's another moment that disappointed me. He says, you know that cave with the drawings of me basically being the most badass, like I'm the first caveman hero? Yeah, above there's a smaller cave with the greatest weapon I ever made. It's called the Black Spear. I'm like, okay, maybe he, sharpened this thing out of, I don't know, some obsidian type of thing. Maybe he got some type of mineral from the earth, like they were mining, and he found this like black crystal or something durable, something like some iron alloy or something, made of nickel and friggin' obsidian or something really badass, like a badass metal that he managed to make into a spearhead, and he calls it the Black Spear. So I'm thinking something epic. And I'm like, yes, that's right, because he remembered, because if you remember from the first fight, Volga, his regular stone spear snapped right away, and then he had to fight this thing with just little stone knives in his hands. This time he's like, I forged something that won't break, sort of thing. And I'm like, all right, he made a weapon that won't break. This is going to be awesome. So Aku runs away and stuff. I don't mind the twist, but I was hyped to see this Black Spear and Dada do something. And then we find out it's a lie, so Aku could get to safety and run away. Of course, Aku runs back to the village, and old man's dead. That Moog guy, who was the only real friend Dada still had, is dead. A lot of the hunting party is dead, and it's just the new ace is standing on top of the baby. The baby is dead. Riddled with spears, the baby is dead. And then we look up, and we know it's the baby because the parent is still up there ready to just destroy the one dude that's left. Basically, Aku and the ace, and we don't see Dada. And then there's Dada on top of this thing, on top of the parent, slashing and biting and clawing and going nuts and just ripping and slashing into this thing, looking like a crazed madman, a crazed badass. He's slashing at it. He takes 2 knives and slashes it down the eye. He is stabbing the shit of it from the front. He's getting Buddy to, help him, and he's ordering him around the new ace, and the ace is just like, yeah, that's right. I'm going after this thing. And he's such a badass. And then we see Aku looking up like, Dad, what is happening? You mean those cave drawings were real? He really is that strong. He really is this ultimate invincible warrior of the clan. He is Asura. He's the ultimate hunter, pretty much. And that's when he comes to this revelation. My dad is strong. My dad is the strongest. My dad is the bravest. My dad is the best. How could I have ever doubted him, sort of thing. And it's this wonderful moment. And then stab. What? I waited 7 chapters assuming that Dada was going to be reduced to this whole time. Then you bring me back to bring him back to show that he's really still the only one who's got a goddamn chance against a true beast, a true monster. And he fucking owns it with basically, once again, bare hands with some stone tools, pieces of stone in his hands, and he's owning a fucking mammoth. And then you decide to stab him, and I'm like, he took injuries before. It looks bad. He was stabbed through, with the tusk. Stabbed through the chest. I'm like, he can survive this. Dada must survive. He's got to survive. Then he's thrown down to the side, and the other ace, the Bojaka guy, is then stabbed with the other tusk. I might have that chronologically confused. I know Dada was stabbed first, but he does get stabbed. And then when Dada is laying there bloody and beaten and like, oh, fuck, stomped on. by this giant mammoth. Not once, but by what I read from this panel, stomped on twice. And the second time sends his body broken and cracked, flying. They wanted to drive it home that he's dead, didn't they? They really wanted to right here and then just twist the knife really deep for anybody who liked him. Yeah, so that happened, and that's basically where chapter 7 kind of ends, because then the mammoth with the new ace, the young bow guy, still on one tusk, just checks his baby, realizes the baby's dead, and he's like, well, I've killed everything here, and he leaves. And Aku pisses himself because he's terrified. I don't blame the kid for being terrified. I mean, I don't blame that. I don't think Aku's a very bad character. I just think that, okay. All right, so we lost the one thing that I was still interested in. Because Dada's clearly dead. And I was really hoping that somehow the dude who's so strong that he can pull a giant rhinoceros and crazily, prehistoric rhinoceros behind him while bleeding and broken, who dragged that thing home to the tribe, maybe he can survive this. Now all of a sudden we're getting realistic here, and no, he can't, because this is where I read the raws. After I'm trying to figure out what's actually going on, what other people think, I went on the Reddit forums, and someone posted a link to say, the raws are here actually. It's up to chapter 20 something. And I'm like, okay, I'll check the raws. I want to see if Dada's still, does he speak at all? And since I can't really read, I was still hoping, because Aku in the next chapter drags, picks up Dada and kind of picks him up and hooks him over his shoulder and starts dragging him. And there's a bunch of speech bubbles, and they're not all with arrows. So I'm thinking maybe Dada is he might be dying, but he's still actually conscious, and I'm holding on, and we see that everybody else is broken and dead and burning, and then we find that Lulu, I believe is the name of the mother, and Dada's wife, is dead and crushed under the thing. So Aku places Dada's body down, starts crying, and that's when it's confirmed, because he puts his parents' hands together to hold their hands one more time, and it's a very sad moment, and that's where I just lost interest. I skimmed through all the other chapters, and we have another time skip, and we get a bunch of some nudity, some raunchy sex scenes. Aku all ends up going beast mode somehow, and meets up with other tribes, and I don't care. I just don't care. I'm sorry, guys. I was invested in Dada. I thought he was a cool character. I thought it would have been really cool if father and son set out to be the best hunters or something, to warn the other tribes. There was some epic thing. But they went from shonen level superhero strength, superhuman awesome Dada in chapter 1. They went shonen, then they went seinen. And I don't mind a seinen manga, but don't introduce me to a shonen in chapter 1, especially with multiple pages. It wasn't exactly a 19-page chapter, just to snatch that away from me and then go seinen with it. And 2 time skips in less than 20 chapters. Yeah. So I'm not invested in this series anymore, guys. I may or may not even bother reading. I'll probably read if chapter 8 is translated. I'll probably read that just to see if Dada was actually still alive and then died while Aku dragged him. I doubt it. But with no Dada, I'm not interested in Aku and his journey anymore, especially after seeing the raws. It reminds me of the filler Gohan Piccolo training, with Gohan going around with his gi and his sword and meeting new kids and fighting and meeting friends and stuff. Did anybody like those episodes? Anybody? I didn't. When I watched Dragon Ball Z, I skipped those. When I was a kid, if I saw it was a Gohan episode, I would actually skip it. And this is before we even met Vegeta and stuff, one of my favorite characters and stuff, before we even knew what was going to happen on Earth. Like I'd even watch the Snake Way episodes, which were kind of boring too, with Goku running all the time and falling off, going to Snake Palace, all this stuff. You know, I'd watch all the training things with King Kai and stuff. I would not watch the Gohan one. You know, I even find the Vegeta Nappa stopping at the Bug Planet more interesting than the Gohan things, and that's all this feels like to me. And then they realized, like, that's only 10-15 chapters of some R-rated shit about him, you know, basically doing what his dad did, you know, years ago, being a wild child pretty much, and a tribe finding him and being a part of. Then he finds out the tribe's evil. Then he, you know, slaughters them and goes beast mode. It's like, why couldn't you have done that before? You know, when you were trying to fight the baby mammoth or something. And then we get another time skip because I realize this is Gohan, Kid Gohan filler. And then we're into adult versions, and I'm just not interested. You know, it seems like it's just, the series had such great potential, and every time they release a chapter, they're ruining the potential. Like, we could have had this awesome thing where there are actually 4 beasts. You know, the Lord of the Black Plains was the first beast in the area, but there must always be a beast of domain, and man is not ready to take this on. And Dada and his son, the child of destiny, the one born under the red moon, will shake the foundations of the beast world and claim the Cro-Magnon man is on top of the food chain. Something shonen-esque. I don't care. It could have been really cool. It could have been Toriko level with all these like giant versions of monsters and beasts, which they have to hunt in different ways. That would have been really cool. But yeah, so disappointed. Very disappointed. What did you guys think? I've drawn down long enough. How long is this video? This is over probably 45 minutes, maybe by this point. Half an hour, 45 minutes. I just wanted to share my thoughts with you guys. Try to get a video released because I have been playing too much video games lately and haven't had enough time for YouTube. So I'm trying to give you guys a little more content. And when I read the chapter today and found out about the Raws, I was just so disappointed in one of the newer series that I was still hanging on to by a thread, hoping it was good. And I basically, the rope broke, guys. That last little bit of hope I had for it just kind of shattered. So unfortunately, fell through the ice on this one. But hopefully we find a new series soon that I can maybe review and get invested in. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Griever with a kind of review, kind of a disappointment discussion-esque video about the potential that Grashros had, or Grashros, I should say, had, and I'm not interested anymore. That's just my thoughts, guys. What do you guys think? Post in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Griever once again, as always. Like, subscribe, comment, and we will see you back here for another video sooner rather than later, now that I've had my fill of my Digimon experience on the PS4. Great game, guys. Hope you guys pick it up and watch my review on that. Thanks, guys, once again. Signing off. Peace.